Hi, my name is Pedro and this is All My Function. This is the video number 6 of a series that I'm creating to teach you about data visualizations. On this video, I'm going to teach you about scales in D3. Well, it's not every day that you get a chart where the data is exactly in pixels that you're going to use. So usually, for example, if you're going to get something about prices, the price can be 1 or 1 billion, and you not necessarily have 1 billion pixels to show it. So you have to present this data in a way that it's scaled to the visualization that you're doing. For this sort of thing, D3 has scales, and D3 actually has a bunch of different types of scales, but they mainly share two things. They are domains and ranges, and I'm going to explain them here. So to explain domains, it's easy to do it with examples. So let's say that you have life expectancy, that I've already used it here before. On the 1500s, if I remember well, it was about 30 years, and today it's more than 70. So the domain of this data set, even though we have like millions of data points, the minimum is 27 and the maximum can be 80. So your data set will have a minimum and a maximum of this data range. Well, the range, on the other hand, is actually the amount of pixels that you want to represent that domain in your chart. So let's say that you have a chart that has 60 pixels, or 600 pixels is better, and you want to represent a data that is like 1 billion. And 1 billion is the max. So in this case, your chart will have 1 billion as 600 pixels. And all the other values will be represented in this rule. The range then is the amount of pixels that you have to represent that data. As I said, D3 has a bunch of different types of scales, and I'm going to leave them here on the description below so you can check them out. The most used scales are the linear, the sequential, the time, and the band. And I'm going to create an example using Code Sandbox so you can see how it works. So to explain the scales, I'm going to use the vanilla template from Code Sandbox as usual. I'm going to remove what I don't use here. So it's this styles.css. I'm going to remove all these things. Save here, remove this one, and we are good. So next, I'm going to get a data set like this one, and we have some ways of doing some stuff here that I'm going to do, and you can do it in your way. I don't care, just have to do them. First things first, I'm going to install D3. Then I'm going to import everything as D3 from D3. Now, remember about the domain that I have to get the maximum value here and the minimum. Not necessarily the minimum, because in some cases I want the minimum to be 0, so the chart starts at 0. In this case, I think that that's what I'm going to do. So let's put some things in perspective. The width of this chart is going to be 300, and the height is going to be 150 or 250. I think that's going to be better. Yeah, usually these scales, they're called Y and X because it's easier to use them after that. So let's start with Y. So the Y is going to be a function that it's basically the D3 dot scale linear. Remember that I said that D3 has the scales. This one is linear, and you can see the documentation that explains why and how this scale linear works. But basically, this one is going to be the easiest one that we have. It's a simple rule of 3, right? Let's set the domain in this case. The domain here is going to be 0, and the maximum value from this array of objects. I can put something like x max here. That is the maximum of the y max. That's going to be the maximum value for this domain. I have some tricks to do this. So on this one is going to be math max, and then I have to spread the values of data.map, and then I'm going to d dot value. Then this one is going to be the maximum value, that is going to be 500. So console log y max 500. So this is going to be the y max. So I want to go from 0 on my y, from 0 to 500. And I can even, if I want to, add 100 here, so my chart never goes to the top. Right, so after that, let's put now the range, right? My range is going to be from 0, an array. Actually, it's 2 parameters. No, it's an array. From 0 to, let's see, my width or my height is height. So this way, now, if I set a number that is one of these numbers, I'm going to get the proportion of where it would be. Let's remove this one for now, just to make it easier. So console log, if I had then a value that is 200, it would be on the height 150, and 100 in this case. And let's say that I have like 500, it would be on the 250, that is the maximum, right? So 250 would be on 125, and it goes on. So this is how scale linear works. But let's go now to scale band. That is usually what you use for bar charts and for line charts in some cases too. So let's go to x equals to d3.scale_band. That's just like the scale linear. You have the domain that is literally the range of these things. So you're gonna have the data.map, the dot name, this is the domain, so each one of these values is one item on the bar chart. And then after that you have to put the range, that is going to be the same thing, so from 0 to width. And in this case I want to add something called padding, that is to add a little bit of padding on the bar chart. Well, with this you now can create your scale. So I'm gonna show you how it would look like. Console log x, if I have a value like, let's say b, it would be on the pixel, like it would be this value from the width. So it would be on the position x 64 dot something. This is because of the padding. If I remove the padding, it's easier to read. So it would be on the 60. So the b, even though it has the value separated by like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 values times the 300 separated by 5 values is 60. So I have it correctly. The second value would be on the pixel 60. I know that this one can be a little bit tricky to understand in some cases, but when you start to implement these scales on the axis, and when you start to create charts, you're gonna see that this stuff it gets automatic for you. So you're gonna use it so much that it's gonna be easy at some point, I promise. The next video is gonna be about axis, so stay tuned and see you soon. Bye bye.